We have a solid update here regarding AT&T. All right, so here's what's been going on. AT&T was granted access, I think back in October of 2024 from the FCC. They got the green light to get portions of the 4.9 gigahertz spectrum band. Now, for those of you that are not too familiar what that band does, it's designed for local public safety entities. And this would give AT&T a major upper hand with FirstNet because they'll be able to utilize the 50 megahertz of spectrum inside the 4.9 gigahertz band, which would really kick things up for FirstNet. They'll get greater access to hotspots, mobile data, voice, etc. So it's a really good band for them to have. It will certainly make FirstNet more efficient, and of course, getting access to more 5G availability is just better overall. They'll be able to reach more customers. They'll be able to make more money, and this is a concern from a lot of different people. Let's get to the main problem here. So the main problem was we had the National Sheriff's Association and the Bay Area Rapid Transit. They started this whole thing. They jointly filed a motion asking the court to temporarily block the FCC's October 2024 order. So we have that, okay, and then of course, obviously, it's rejected now, which is why they did get the green light once again from the court to go ahead and start utilizing the 4.9 gigahertz spectrum band, which is why this is great news. But the story is far from over. The battle will continue because T-Mobile and Verizon had an opposition as well. You know, they argued that granting this for access to FirstNet would basically be a gift of spectrum to AT&T. And they said that they sought to retain local control of the band. They don't want them having this much spectrum availability. This is going to give them, look at it like this, you know, everybody wants spectrum. There's been a shortage for a while now with the FCC having problems once they lost access to auction off new spectrum to, carriers. Everybody's been fighting over looking for ways to increase their spectrum capabilities and availabilities. They want more clientele. There's areas that need more spectrum, customers that are left out in the dark without 5G access. This is why we see T-Mobile looking for every given opportunity to merge with somebody that's got a footprint in these, especially rural areas, right? Because there's a lack of spectrum availability. Otherwise, they can't get it. So they're looking for whatever opportunities they have, particularly T-Mobile, and they'll spend any amount of money for it because they're desperate. They want the biggest 5G footprint. And so far, their 5G availability is the biggest. So this is why T-Mobile's concerned. They don't want AT&T catching up. AT&T, in my opinion, has kind of been the underdog here when it comes to 5G, and that's particularly their own choice, I think. I think that they've been focused more on fiber and fixed wireless access over the last couple of years. They started hot and heavy with 5G, but then they slowed it down. They took it back a lot, right? They decreased their force with 5G a great deal. And it's basically been a battle between T-Mobile and Verizon for quite some time now. So there's concerns. Now we see AT&T coming back out of nowhere, getting, some new spectrum here, putting them back on the map. Well, now they got another person to worry about, So this is basically what their problem is, that, they're concerned that this will give them greater financial gains. And let's face it, they want to snuff AT&T out, right? They want to phase them out. They don't want to share. Which is just how these companies are. They're greedy. And, so I'm all for this, particularly in my opinion. I like this very much. Glad to see AT&T getting new spectrum access. I think they're going to put it to great use. There's consumers worried. Everybody's got their own opinions. Customers are saying, well, are they going to utilize this the right way? What are they really going to do with it? They're going to use it for FirstNet, and they're going to improve the network. They're going to make the service even stronger, is what I think. There's some people that say, well, they're building new FirstNet access points, in rural communities, but to me, it's that microwave backhaul service. It's very slow and sluggish. If that's the case, getting more access, getting such, availability to 4.9 gigahertz to 50 megahertz will help them, right? It'll probably help them in those areas where maybe it's just not sufficient enough, right? They don't have enough availability there. Well, these are the types of things that can help companies that are restricted, right? Getting more access to spectrum will increase more 5G availability and will help push the network out in those areas where they just haven't been able to reach those customers that can't get connected. So I don't know. Applause for AT&T in my opinion. I like this very much. Comment down below your thoughts. What do you think AT&T is going to do with this? Do you think it will help them? And I guess just your whole opinion on it. As always, thank you so much for stopping by and watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.